Okay, I'm going in a meeting. Okay, Lorenzo? Look.
Hi, Suzette.
Oh, hi. Is video on?
No,
Oops.
but I can recognize your voice and your child's
Okay.
name.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi,
Time
Lorenzo.
to mute. Hi, Jenny.
Good
Things
morning.
you want to see? Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, let's talk Discovery Kids. We've been bombarding everybody with information. So I think we covered a lot of the the bigger high level topics, but I'll go through it anyways. I'm essentially just going to reference our website as a guide. I'll talk through it and then interrupt and ask questions where you need to. So the after school program was designed for ages 3 to 7. What we had in mind was solving two gaps that we had, killing two birds with one stone, if you will, which was 3K after school coverage, which we didn't have, and then also some sort of a language enrichment, which was sparse here. It's just EF, and Y on Mondays was all we had. We had tried a language enrichment last spring and didn't take off. And then, with this here, everything started late, but we gave it a push anyways. So we're teetering on the ability to even have the program because there needs to be at least some sort of critical mass for the program um, to be cost effective, essentially to pay for itself. Right now, the program has a full-time dual language Spanish teacher as the lead and an assistant, a part-time assistant. So she's there 3 days a week. She's also bilingual Spanish. The French element, we had expected to be able to add immediately, but the numbers weren't there. And we're hoping that we can get the numbers there in January so that the French element, which would be 3 days a week, would be there as well. The numbers that we need to reach, the latest thing that we heard was 9 kids in order to reach the point where the program can have 3 instructors essentially, 2 part-time, 1 full-time. So going through it, and definitely interrupt me if you've got any questions. Pickup happens just as with any other after school. Most of the pickup right now is actually just in the hallway where the PTA room is. That's where all the 3K and pre-K kids are. So it's pretty straightforward. The upper grade kids, as you know, they all come down to the schoolyard. So everyone except for anybody who happens to be on the second floor, the kindergarten's on the second floor, would be a first floor pickup. The room is on the second floor. It's Miss Villanueva's room. It's room 204. It's a dual language Spanish room. Right now, we're negotiating what we can use and can't use in the room. I think classroom teachers are rightfully so very defensive and protective about their things because it's hard to come by. A lot of things were gifted from parents or they paid for them out of their own pocket. So I'm going to go in and talk with Miss Villanueva. She was Sonia's teacher for pre-K and kindergarten both. So hopefully she believes, and I think we have a good relationship. So we'll see what negotiation we can do there. Um, let's see. So the schedule is supposed to be it's dual language every day, and on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're hoping to have the French element if we get up to that 9 or so kids enrolled. It's 2:30 to 5:30, we should say pick up from dismissal to 5:30 every day. We're working out with Miss O what the best method of pickup dismissal is at 5:30. If there's just one instructor, I think essentially if you go early, you go upstairs to 204 and you pick up your kid. If it's approaching 5:30, then the group of kids will just come down to the auditorium area. So everybody will pick up there. It's sort of what University Settlement does. Everybody comes down to the auditorium instead of having parents go up throughout the floors one at a time. Um, Program cost. So we did a lot of math gymnastics to try to figure this out. Right now, it's $930 a month if you're full time, and that's up to 14 kids. It's a lot for compared to other programs, but um, there is the enrichment element. It's not just childcare, you could say. They're trying to hire professionals to educate rather than college kids to make fun times for the kids. So there's that bit of it. The more families we get to commit, the more chance the numbers will come down. It would be great to get to 760 a month for everybody. Um, that would be ideal. Um, the PTA fronted the permit, and that probably makes no sense to most of you, but essentially, um, a nonprofit needs to be the person who's you could say running the program or the point person for the DOE for using the building. Um, and we set it up so Discovery Kids is essentially our vendor, the PTA's vendor, and the PTA is um is fronting the permit, so the vendor is essentially going to pay us back for the permit cost. Unfortunately, the permit's high. Most of the cost is security. That's with anything. In general, the PTA has free hours to use, but usually it's not a lot, so it wouldn't cover this. And we use it for things like events, World Culture Night and Movie Night and things like that. Otherwise, the permit itself was almost $10,000 for December through the end of June. And that's just to be in the building. We had to pay that price. And then the rest of the cost is, mostly to pay the teachers their wages and salaries and then some supplies, essentially. Um, Enrollment is a pain in the butt on High Sawyer, I've realized, because I want people to be able to sign up immediately for January, but I guess it just doesn't work that way on that tool. So if you do want to enroll for January, then we're asking you to send a message to the Discovery Kids email address, which I think has been shared around. You can get in contact with us and we'll help you with that as well. But the director, Eviana, she'll just manually enroll you for January so that she can get it to work on her side. But we couldn't figure out how to let parents do it themselves, essentially. If you enroll today, it's going to feel like you're enrolling for December, which we're halfway through already. If you wait till December 23rd, I think it is, which is after the last day of the program this month, then it'll automatically be for January, the first day, the first next day of the program. If you wanted to do it yourself. But if you do, just give us a heads up so we can anticipate counting you. Um, any questions?
I have a question.
Yep.
Can you hear me? This may be kind of a chicken and the egg problem, but so my daughter's in Kids Orbit, but I would like her, my older son's in the French program, so I would love to have her have French enrichment. But so I would only want to, I would want to sign her up for days, maybe like one day that had French, but if you don't know, like, is there a way to kind of sign up conditionally if you don't know there's going to be a French program? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think what we need to do is just start tracking people who want to sign up conditionally, essentially. Like if we have enough parents where who are committed, like if we get enough of everybody to sign up to have a French teacher, then we'll all sign up together. If we know that number and know who you are, then I think that could work. Tony and Jenny, we talked about tracking that somehow. Did we settle on what we would do exactly? Or is it just still gonna just be the emails and then we'll create a list?
Maybe we just start the list right now, and it's been a little bit haphazard so far, but maybe I just take down the names of anyone that would like to sign up conditionally, and just be more explicit about that. I think maybe people have been sort of confused about the critical mass aspect of it. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of this call, I'll just contact everyone, or we can just talk about now who wants to sign up if they can get the French running.
Yeah.
Just for me also, it might be helpful for communication. Like, it's a little confusing to have both languages. Like, I don't know, and the Discovery Kids website doesn't really explain like what the plan is, which especially since we already actually are paying for other after school, it makes me reluctant to sign up. So I think maybe if they have some better communication about what the plan would be, it might. I know there are a lot of other kids in my daughter's pre-K that already are speaking French, so I imagine there's some demand there.
Plan for what the how the day would go, you mean?
No, like what, I don't know, I guess like the phrase French enrichment doesn't mean that much to me, especially if there's Spanish at the same time. Like, is it gonna be like the teacher only speaks French? Or is it like instructional, or like, is it reading books in French? I don't know, or whatever the way, I assume the Spanish parents would have the same questions, but just kind of like more what the language component is, which at least for me, and I think for many people mid-year to sign up is probably the motivating factor. So just some idea of that. Maybe the 3K parents are different because they don't have after school at the school already, but for us, we have reliable after school. So this would be like a switch for the language.
Right. The what's laid out, what was communicated to us is that Tuesday would be French music and movement. So the activities would essentially be led in French. Wednesday would be art, and they would be both Spanish and French because both teachers are there. So I think and it is and would be a small group. So the teachers there would be one French teacher, one Spanish teacher. So they would just sort of, you could say, hover over the kids who are leaning toward French versus leaning toward Spanish. And they're all bilingual, so they can speak English and do when they need to, but they're injecting a lot of when I observed, they're injecting a lot of Spanish into everything.
Yeah.
And then Thursday they call it French Discovery Lab. When Iviana, the program director, was asked sort of this question before, what's the curriculum? She said they leave it up to the instructors to create the curriculum, so that they have a little bit of control over the needs of the kids essentially, and what works for the kids. So we can ask that question for sure. I feel like we're still going to get a vague answer still until we get a French instructor and they meet the kids and they're like, okay, this is what's going to work. Yeah, essentially.
I'm curious too, like just in the meantime, before they have the French instructor, like we have flashcards and stuff that you wouldn't need a French instructor. Like I'm able to do it with our kids and I don't speak French. Like if there's some element they could like interject for the kids that are in the French program that have signed up already, like it'd be helpful to like chat with them about that because I think there's things that they could do. There's basic like phonics or sight words or things like that that they don't need to necessarily be
Right.
fluent to help them with.
That's a good point. Ellie, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for all the effort in trying to set this up. Like it was great to hear what's happening behind the black box of setting these things up. And thanks a lot for that work. I think from the operational side, it was very clear. I think part of my question you already answered, which is that we're not exactly clear what the curriculum is going to be. And we need a bit more variability on that. I had two questions. One is a clarification one. One is something that you may have addressed, and if so, I apologize for missing the first minutes. The clarification is just a confirmation. So right now, we don't know yet if the French is happening, correct?
Correct. Right. As of
Does
right
that
now, it's
mean-
not happening until we have a critical mass of kids.
Got it. So then what happens then to the Tuesdays and Thursdays if that is the case?
It's Spanish.
Okay, so you still have the 5 days, but then it becomes Spanish only as opposed to
Yeah.
to French.
So
Okay, got it.
and I can outline that. So that the lead teacher
Mhm.
on-site director is Spanish bilingual. So
Okay,
Monday
yeah.
through Friday is the potential for Spanish is there. So it can be 5 days a week, and essentially it is 5 days a week now. There's an
Okay.
assistant teacher, Amanda, who is
Yeah.
there 3 days a week, and she's Spanish bilingual as well.
Yeah.
So at this point, it can be Spanish bilingual 5 days a week, language enrichment, no problem. And what we're trying to do is onboard a French instructor,
Okay.
which costs money, hence
Yeah.
where we are.
And that leads me to thank you for this clarification. That leads me to my second question, which is on the pricing elements and the size of the scale and the scale. There were two things. So number one is for it to match the cost of Kids Orbit, my understanding is we need to get 18 to 20 kids, but we only have 2 instructors. Or how many instructor per kids if you get to that level? Is it just like 2 instructors and then you increase the number of kids, or do you also match the number of kids to the number of instructors? I didn't understand how the economies of scales work, is my question.
The original levels of pricing tiers
Yeah,
were for 3 instructors. So the up to 14 kids for $9.30 a month was with
2 instructors.
with one full-time Spanish English, one part-time French
French.
English, and
Yeah.
one assistant teacher
Okay.
bilingual Spanish.
And then when you get to the 18 to 20 kids, is that the same number of people or do you have more?
No, that's still the three
Oh, okay,
instructors
got
like
it.
that.
Gotcha. Okay. And then the last thing I want to understand is it seems that it's variable, like it's on a month to month, the number of kids. Is that how it's set up? Or is it like a commitment for the semester and then that way it's fixed? Trying to understand the variability of price.
Essentially, the price can't go up
Yeah.
right now because it's as high as it goes,
Yeah.
but it can come down if there's more commitment. And what the program would prefer is full-time commitment for the semester, essentially. That way they know when they can plan. But they'll
Okay.
take drop-ins, they'll take whatever they can get, 2 days a week, whatever it happens to be. It all makes a difference.
Mhm.
But ideally they would get full-time commitment so that they can plan.
Gotcha, that makes sense. Okay, cool. These were the only things. Thank you for answering them.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Suzette. Question, so about pricing. So for those of us who are considering, say, 1 or 2 days a week, does the sort of discounted rate, like with increased number of like enrollment, does that not apply to us? Does it only apply to people who are planning on like a full-time 5-day a week enrollment?
It would apply to you. So
Oh, I see.
the pricing right now is based on $9.30 a month. So 4 days a week is $7.60 a month. If we did get to 15 kids, then those 4-day, 3-day, 2-day a week prices would also drop.
Yeah, and you mean 15 kids per day, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not 15 individual kids, but
Yes, so I'd recommend that, you know how Taylor puts out all these really awesome, very effective like signups that are just like these living signups, like through Parent Square or whatnot. That could be an effective way to collect interest. It might also be like this, okay, I jump on and I sign up and I see that more people have signed up, and it could be sort of a motivating community kind of way to communicate more interest like amongst ourselves versus Tony and Jenny collecting email addresses. It's just an idea. I
So
think
a public conditional sign-up sheet.
something like that.
Yeah.
It's
So
just an idea.
what's the thing that Taylor does? It's via Parent Square. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think it's via Parent Square. So he uses it for like bake sale signups. We're using this for the holiday bazaar, volunteer sign up.
Yeah.
It's just like a living sort of like Excel Google Doc. Yeah, it's
Oh,
just
okay,
an
so you
idea.
can go in and you can like see the people who are on it. I see what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Mhm.
Okay.
Just an idea.
Yeah.
It sounds like a complicated like pricing uh pricing
Yeah.
scenario. You know, the more people that sign up, the cheaper it is, but then you've got this like rolling enrollment, but it's also conditional. This is I'm excited about this opportunity, but um it's like what are we I feel like we're all sort of depending on each other to conditionally, but then commit, you know, on our conditional signups together to do this to get like a cheaper rate, because right now I'm at the current pricing, it's a little bit, I mean, as you recognized, it's pretty high. It's pretty expensive. So I'm drawn to the lower price, but I'm like hesitant to commit because of the pricing, but then also the French element. So we don't even have enough um interest yet in the French. Just
So
putting that in there.
we sort of need like a conditional sign up sheet, which will give us all the same type of information, start date, days you're interested in, and then maybe also language you're interested in, which is a question we're not currently asking for. And and then maybe a note saying what would it take to actually make you commit, so that we know what we need in order to count on.
I mean,
Uh,
sorry to interrupt. Maybe one way is just to put a cutoff time, right? Like a certain interest by then that at least people know that they know the visibility of the pricing, and you know that you can plan. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, I missed that. To put what together?
So I'm saying maybe one way, because I get the point that was made. Like all those dynamics are completely correct. I think, and on my end, for example, I have the exact same concerns that were just mentioned, right? So for me, it would be like, okay, express your interest, and then by a specific, you set a specific cutoff date for people to express it, and then that way you really know, if people are in or out. The default is this is the 960 per month. You're in it no matter what. It's Spanish. Most of the people who are interested in Spanish and are okay with that setup of the thing, you'll have those informations, you'll have those numbers. And then you can have, okay, I'm in if it is within that frame and it has French. And I express my interest by then. If my interest by then and the cutoff date has passed and that number of people hasn't materialized, then the persons are out. Or you can always offer them to say, would you like to join the other one? But that's basically it. And that enables you to get your numbers easily, as opposed to have what would it take you to join. I think you just tell them like, which category would you be in? Like, I'm in this price point for that number of days in French and English. Like is French conditional for you to participate? And then you just set up a cutoff date for people to express their interest. If you leave it open, my concern is that you will never really know, and it's better to just have certainty at that point. So maybe what you do is you just put that thing, but people have to submit their information by a specific date, and that will
I
create the
think,
certainty we need.
yeah, I think we would definitely have a cutoff date, just because the whole hiring onboarding process would have to happen in time. We did put out an interest sheet. I think we didn't ask all the questions we needed to. That's essentially what happened, because we had 28 families who filled out that interest sheet, which gave us a lot of confidence that this was going to be okay. And then 5 families signed up. So I think we need to do essentially that form again, but ask different questions. And one of the important ones will be, at what price point and what language are you interested in? Maybe those 2 things are it. And then maybe a note field, like give us a hint about anything else we may have missed.
Hi,
And
can
have a
I
couple
say
of-
something really quick? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Hello?
Hi.
Okay, so I actually did commit. So my son started last week, Monday through Friday for Spanish. So I kind of want to have a better idea of, for come January, how many Spanish children that are doing the Spanish program are there, because I want to know how much is tuition going to be for January, and then so on and so forth. So as far better with, I guess, families that are already involved, is it possible for them to create a WhatsApp like chat with the I guess director or the person in charge of the program to have better communication? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think the parents definitely would. I don't know if the director will be willing to join a WhatsApp chat with parents. I feel like our
Okay.
teachers don't even do that.
Okay,
But
so yeah, who would like the person of I guess to get it going, or I don't even know the other parents that are currently their children are enrolled.
well, Tony's one. Tony's
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
me, Mark's parents are two of me, one other 3K family. Nancy, are you Mateo's mother?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so you are
Yeah.
and then there's one more. I
We
think
our
Dana,
girls
who's
are
on the call, Jenny.
yeah, Thursday and Friday, Zoe and Maddie. Maddie's in Mateo's class.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
Yeah,
Yes.
we have so the French after school that our kids do Monday through Wednesday, which is offsite. We have a parent chat, and then so that we can all communicate about like pickup drop off stuff that is relevant to parents. But then the program has a one-way chat where it's like, they can just share updates with us on WhatsApp about things you need to know. But there's no like dialogue, so I don't know if they'd be open to that. That's a little easier for a program to manage.
Okay. All right. So it's Jenny, Anthony, and who else? I missed the other person.
Allie and Pat are the names of the parents, and their kid is Mark, who's in 3K.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, because it's been like I got someone else's like belongings, and I didn't know who to contact, to return it. I gave it back to the person there, but still it's
That
it's
was
been a little
Julie's, I think. That was
okay.
Tony's kid.
Okay.
Oh
So
yeah, that was it was a water bottle and a
okay.
blanket.
All right, yeah, I sent it back, but I'm like, oh, I hope, they got it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, guys, I apologize. I have to drop for a work call. Yeah, we can probably pretty easily just set up a parents WhatsApp of the whatever 5 families that are
Okay.
in the program currently.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. I would appreciate that. And then also to like keep an idea of like what, tuition is going to be for like the following month and so on.
Yep.
All
Okay.
right, sorry guys, I gotta drop. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Karen, you got something? How many kids are enrolled so far? 4 full-time, 2 part-time.
And
right
then
now.
the threshold for 9, you said that's to hire the French teacher. Is there a risk of this being shut down for the existing kids, or is it
Yes.
okay? I mean, yeah, I'm torn because we like have as we have a program, but I mean, I think I need to talk to Jack, but I think we're willing to join just to help keep it going. So, yeah. How many do we need to keep it going?
I'm not sure. I have to,
Because I think it's just hard, right? Like this is the struggle with getting something going. But I would imagine
Yeah.
if we can kick it off and then next year it's just in place, it'll build, right? So I hate to see it flounder when it's so promising.
yeah, there's tons of growing pains. And if you guys can remember, we tried to get the teams aftercare, the $17 a day aftercare up and
Yeah.
running, and that
Yeah.
it didn't take off, even though there was tons of interest. There wasn't enough
Yeah.
signups.
It's such a bummer.
Do we know, by the way, what the situation is for next semester? Because I know there was a conversation about having it for next semester just in
They don't
case.
want to do it mid-year. And this is probably why. You try to introduce it halfway and it doesn't work.
Okay.
So they didn't want to do it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So it just has to wait till that one has to wait till next fall.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, unfortunately. But we'll
Yeah,
try
'cause that was
again
a really
with that
cool.
one.
Yeah, that's a
I
really
mean,
cool
it
program.
sounds really promising. They originated out of PS9. The director is the school secretary there, and she used to be a PTA parent as well.
Yeah.
Everyone says that the kids love it, the parents love it. They're horrible at communicating with the PTA, but they really take care of the kids,
Okay.
and that's really what matters.
We'll get them next year for sure.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Joel, thank you so much for all the effort you're putting into this, man.
Yep, no
It's
problem.
a lot of work. Very much appreciated.
I think we'll create the new form, the interest form. I'll essentially just email it to everybody who filled out the first form and with the extra questions, and we'll see where we are at.
And hi, Suzette again. So just to be clear, like I'm currently interested in 1 day per week. I might
Okay.
increase from there, but 1 day per week, and it is a Tuesday, which, you know, because that's the day that works for us, and then also because of the French. As of now, if we sign up, it will be Spanish, correct?
Yes. In December, it'll be Spanish. In
Yeah.
January, if we don't get to the critical mass, it'll still just be Spanish, but we're hoping for French.
Okay, and is Eliana, her name's Eliana, the director, she's
Viviana, yep.
Aviana is looking for French
Eliana.
teachers right now? She's looking to recruit French teachers, or is she waiting for us to get enough kids?
No, I feel like she sort of has teachers in the pipeline. Like I think she just takes
She interviewed at
applications.
least 2 people.
Yeah.
And
She
so
had
I think
somebody in October, but then that person was no longer available by December.
Got it.
Um,
And
so
there's
it is a tiny bit of chicken and egg, but like she has a roster that it's like she wants to like secure the person, but can't until she can afford them basically.
And there's no flexibility for them to just have the French at least 1 day just to get help get French people in, because it's really hard to obviously like commit when you're like, we don't know if we'll have the language, and that's the whole point of it.
I think we have to set a date, and sorry, I've been on the train, but I think we need to say like we need a commitment by the 15th or something of this month for January in order to make the call on whether or not we can afford this one. Like this rolling thing is never really going to work. Like we're going to keep having chicken and egg. So it's sort of like if people are into the French and they're willing to do it, like let's put that down on paper, give that to Aviana, and then you'll know for sure that when you sign up for January, Tuesdays will be in French. So I know I missed a lot of this conversation, but like I don't think it's gonna work if we're like Spanish right now, but like we need to be really clear when we hit that threshold. And I think we're very, very close, honestly, based on the last email with Aviana.
Yeah, we were just talking about that,
Okay.
setting a deadline.
Right.
I don't know if you were on when we essentially need to get those data points, like who will sign up at what price point for what language for what days. So
yeah, I mean the
we
last
can
time
see.
when I sent her the interest from our class, so Marielle, and then Daisy, both of Suzette's kids, and Mimi. And that was just Marielle for 2 days and not 3. And that was not including Jenny's kids for Friday. Like, it seems like even that should have put us very close to having a more sustainable program. Like with the enrollment of 3 other kids. So it's just a matter of everybody really committing to that, in my opinion.
Okay. I'll try to create this form sometime today and get it out probably tonight. And we'll keep pushing forward. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
All
you
right.
all.